Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. As we always do, we're going to start off with the large cap charts. Right now, we're looking at the Dow, and this past week, another very nice week. Did slow down a little bit on Friday, but given the kind of mania we've seen, that is to be expected, and it's been pretty commonplace really all year on Fridays. Dow back and forth, no real movement, which is why we've seen so much action in the small and mid cap stocks. That and crypto has paused. A lot of money came out of crypto, and the meme mania has driven a lot of volume back into stocks again, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Dow chart, as long as we don't see big drop days, we should continue, I think, to see the kind of action we've seen. There is that issue, and I'm sure all you guys have noticed, whenever the large caps blip down at all, you see almost the entire market reacts with it. That's something that used to never happen until this year. So it's something we got to be mindful of as we watch the action out there in stocks. QQQs actually trying to break out to a new all-time high. So this is going to be something to watch early this week. Remember, when the tech stocks do well, that is a barometer for the speculation in the market. And tech stocks do well, small caps tend to do very well. So we're going to be keeping a really close eye on that one, especially on AI, which I said is my proxy for that kind of speculation in the market. It looks like the earnings sell-off has now abated on AI. It had a nice little turnaround on Friday, so it'll be interesting to see how this one reacts this week and if it's able to get back above that 70 level. But we've got a lot of stocks to jump into right now. I'm going to start off with one of my fave swings going forward right now, and that is SPRT. As I've said, this stock reminds me a lot of TRCH, and let me actually pull that up. So TRCH was a merger play last year, and this is a stock that was a very nice mover, as you can see, from about September, October, all the way into the February top in the market. 30 cents to almost $5 into its merger. And SPRT, not to go over all the research on this one, they are merging with a green Bitcoin miner in New York, natural gas Bitcoining operation. So this one looks really, really good to me. Now, it had a very nice pop, of course, on Thursday when Any was running on its news, and I believe this stock is much better than Any. Friday, Any ended up dipping, and Sport, people are starting to connect the dots on this merger, ran all the way up to 5, and then Any broke under 3, and it brought the selling into this one. Remember, this stock has anywhere from 24 to 40% of its float short, and a lot of different sites have different numbers, but they're always at least 24% or more on a low float. Bitcoin miner merger play. Merger plays have also been very hot. I really like this stock. As I've said, I added it to my long-term positions on Thursday. So that usually is an indication that I like a stock when I actually add it to my long-term account. Here is the 1-hour chart on SPRT, and you can see, like Torch, it's one of those stocks that goes up, retraces, goes up, retraces. I call these ATM stocks because you pick up a swing position, and I like to use these dips to make my swing position free. When they give these kinds of moves, I like to take advantage of them. UAMY finally broke up above the 50-day moving average, and then with the weakness I was talking about, Friday had a weird vibe to the market, as I mentioned, and you could see that reflected in a lot of charts. Just buyers disappeared, not a whole lot of volume. This one retraced back to its 50-day moving average. One of these days, these guys are going to put out a press release. Maybe it's going to be tomorrow. We shall see. 104 break. Next top on this chart is 139. CSCW. Oh, what can I say about this one? NFT play. Great chart breakout above the 50-day moving average. They are being added to the Russell Microcap Index in 2 weeks. That should supercharge this stock. I mean, they had news on Friday, and the stock was barely up early, and then finally everyone started to connect the dots on this one. Next resistance, 132, 155 plus. I could see this stock going back up to the twos if we see the kind of mania that we're seeing in certain stocks flow over to this one. It's starting to ramp up the volume. So this is one to keep an eye on, that if it gets that 20, 30 million volume day, it's probably an indication that the algos are a-coming. Chi-Chi. I don't know what else I can say on this one. The research is really, really good on this one. Low float. They're actually profitable. REIT, etc., etc. When you see stocks like IHT that owns 2 motels doing what it's doing, and a company or stock like this continues to get held back, it reminds me a lot of some of those stocks that we've played in the past, like AYRO. When I played that one, stock wouldn't move. It was woefully undervalued compared to some of its peers, and then finally it was let loose. Where's the let loose spot again? It's back up there in the 7s. We did have that pop midweek up to 8 plus, and the shorts came back and hammered it back down again. But we hit the bottom of the range yet again. So rinse, repeat, back up to 7, perhaps Monday or Tuesday. MLND, you can see this W formation and why I love seeing these kinds of formations setting up very, very nicely. Still looking for that move to a 169. The merger vote is in 9 days, I believe. It's June 22nd. I'm still surprised at the volume here. This stock has still not seen a mega volume day. Mega volume day, I mean 10 million plus. That again, like I was talking about on CSCW, that again will be an indication to me that the algos are getting ready to move into this stock for the runs that we've typically seen on a lot of them, OBLN being the most recent one. AIHS. As I mentioned, this is a stock that I am going to be playing all summer into the DD IPO. It still blew my mind that this stock is sitting here. Thursday, they announced a partnership with Didi. This is the company that kicked Uber out of China. Uber threw the towel in and sold their business to Didi. That's how good these guys were in China. AIHS did a partnership with them on Thursday. Thursday night, Didi filed for its US IPO. Now, it's no surprise that the stock stopped where it did on Friday. That is the 50-day and 200-day moving average zone. Once it clears that level, the chart projects to 140 to 160 next. Now, as I said, this stock is a pure play on that DD IPO. Forget Uber, forget Lyft. I believe this is the play, especially the small cap play into that IPO upcoming. INUV, nothing more to really say here other than we're just still in a nice little uptrend. And if you remember last year when I was playing this stock, this is kind of what the stock did then as well. It just slowly moved higher. And then when you look back a couple of weeks or a month later, you go, wow, that stock's up 25%. I never even noticed it. That's what's going on right now in INUV. Quick mention on ACST, another merger penny play. Merger stock's hot. This one is usually good for a nice intraday move. XPL, only thing I'm going to mention here is that if UAMY goes, XPL goes. Unless XPL gets smart and puts out some press release by themselves. But near term, depending on what UAMY does, this has a one magnet on the chart. VERB. VERB has told us that they're going to have a Microsoft Outlook press release. Hopefully it's tomorrow morning. As we all know, what tends to happen is traders know there's news coming on the stock, but they won't touch it unless the scanners and the algos are chasing it up higher. So let's see. I'm hoping we get a pre-market press release on this one. Break over the 200-day moving average would also bring in more scanner algos as well. So 142, 160 to $2 possible, depending on how they word that press release and what kind of stocks are moving in pre-market the day they actually come out and release that. MOTS. Another nice little chart setup, 122 break, 150 is what the chart projects to. SIFFER. Ooh, this chart is tight. Look at this chart. As I mentioned, it had a tendency of getting a huge pop on news, and it's just slowly been moving higher. 365 break, 5 plus. These guys have their fingers in so many different pots in the space sector. It still amazes me where it's trading, especially after last week when you saw the kinds of moves in the space-related stocks that we saw, and these guys are in bed with NASA. That's all I got to say there. PLX, bottom chart. When I'm looking at a chart like this, especially when it sells off and has a big move downward, a couple of things to look at. 20-day is 262. You'll recall how I've talked about that's one of my favorite bounce indicators on sold off charts. Right now we're sitting at 217, 218. So, we're looking at 40-cent possible upside to the 20-day EMA. A recent play that I did on such a thing was, as you recall, AEI. Imploded on the offering nonsense. 20-day exponential was at 550 to 517 as it slowly came down. And then in the last few days, boop, up to the 20-day exponential. So this is one, this will probably end up coming down to 250. But if I was to tell you that you could buy a stock at 210 and sell it at 250 in a couple of weeks, you'd probably have big smiles on your face. And that's what I'm looking for near term. Where would I put my stops on this one? That's pretty easy. $2. I mean, it's right there. $2 was the low. If it broke below that, that would negate the stock, but I really don't think that should happen. But, nothing is a sure thing in the market, and that's why we look at support levels and decide ahead of time what our strategy is if a play doesn't work. Break, 225. Target, 250 plus. RSI in the basement. So this one is actually setting up nicely for this upcoming week. So that's it for the video, guys. Cash stance. As you know, I have been spending a little bit more on swings. I think I'm down to like 70 to 75% now cash in my swing account. But if things did turn down, I would instantly reduce that position size just as we did, or I did back earlier this year. Market looks good, but it's like that saying I've said, you go to the party, you hang at the door, you listen to the music, you drink the free booze, but you're ready to scram when the cops come and get called on the party. So that's it. Have a great weekend. See you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.